Hi, my name is Mr. John M. Torres and I will discuss how did we construct our simple sign up and login window. It starts by defining a function login account and username is equals to username entry dot get open and close parentheses. Password is equals to password entry dot get open and close parentheses dot encode UTF-8. The program will accept an entry from the user to be his username, and the program will also accept entries from the user to set up his password with encode UTF-8. UTF-8 encoding is a character encoding that represents each Unicode character with 1 to 4 bytes, retrieves the current value entered into the password entry widget. In simple terms, it is used to provide a better security for the password. Next is if not, username and password. Message box that show error, login error. Please enter both username and password. Return. This line checks whether both the username and password variables contain non-empty values. The AND operator here ensures that both conditions need to be true for the entire expression to be true. Either the username or password are empty. In this case, it displays an error message using a message box dialog, informing the user to enter both a username and a password. After displaying the error message, the return statement is used to exit the function early. This ensures that the login process does not proceed further if the user has not entered the username and a password. Next is this line. Con is equals to sqlite3.connect users.db. Cursor is equals to con.cursor. Cursor.execute select from users where email is equals to question mark. Username. User is equals to cursor.fetch1. Con.close. This part of the code establishes a connection to an SQLite database file named users.db. If the line does not exist, SQLite will create it automatically. The con object represents the connection to the database. Cursor is equals to con.cursor open and close parentheses. This line creates a cursor object using the connection object. Cursor.execute select from users where email is equals to question mark username. This line executes an SQL select query to retrieve all columns from the users tables where the email column matches the value of username. The question mark is a placeholder for the parameterized query to prevent SQL injection, and username is a tuple containing the username value to be substituted into the query. User is equals to cursor fetch1. This line fetches the first row of the result set from the executed query. If a user with a given email exists, user will contain a tuple representing the user's data. If no users is found, user will be none. Con.close, this is the line that closes the connection to the database. Next, if user and bcrypt.check pw password user index 2. User, this is the variable that holds the result of the query cursor.fetch1. If a user with the given email exists, user will be a tuple containing the user's data. If no user is found, user will be none. bcrypt.check pw password user index 2. This function checks if the provided password encoded as UTF-8 byte string matches the hash password stored in the database. Password is the user provided password which have been encoded 2 bytes earlier. User index 2 refers to the password field in the user's data tuple. The condition checks if user is not none, and if the provided password matches the stored hash password. Message box that show info, login successful. If the condition is true, a message box is displayed to inform the user that the login was successful. Message box that show info is a method from Tkinter that shows an informational message box with the title login and the message login successful. Else, if the condition is false, it will display error, invalid username or password. App destroy, open and close parentheses. This line closes the current custom Tkinter application window. This is typically done after a successful login to transition from the login window to the main application window. Open main window, open and close parentheses. This function opens the main application window. After the login window is closed, the function is called to initialize and display the main part of the application. Next, we define the function create account. Email is equals to username entry dot get open and close parentheses. This line gets the email input from a user interface and will store the value from the email keyword. Next, password is equals to password entry dot get open and close parentheses and code UTF-8. This line gets the password input from another entry field and encodes it to UTF-8, converting the string into bytes. Hash is equals to bcrypt.hashpw. Just like earlier, this part of the code uses bcrypt library to hash the password for security. Con is equals to sqlite3.connect users.db. This line connects to a SQLite database named users.db. Cursor is equals to con.cursor. This line creates a cursor object which is used to execute SQL commands. Cursor.execute select from users where email is equals to email. This line executes a SQL query to check if there's already a user with the same email in the users table. If cursor.fetch1. This line fetches one result from the query. If a result is found, it means an account with that already exists. And it will display using message box that show error that sign up error, invalid email or password. Else, if no account with that email is found, cursor.execute insert into user's email password values email hash. This line will insert a new row into the user's table with the provided email and hash password. Concommit, this line will commit the transaction, saving the new user to the database. And con.close, this line closes the database connection. And message box that show info will display a message that success, account created successfully, please log in. Username entry .delete 0 and this line clears the email entry field. And same goes to password entry, it will clear the password entry field. Now let's move on to this part of the code. App is equals to custom tkinter.ctk. This line creates the main application window using custom Tkinter, which is the enhanced version of Tkinter. App.title sign up or login. This will set the title of the window to sign up or login. App.geometry 450 by 360 pixels. This will set the dimension of the window to 450 pixels in width and 360 pixels in height. App.config bg is equals to none. This configures the background color of the window. The none value typically means that the default background color will be used. App.resizable false. This line disables the ability to resize the window both horizontally and vertically. The false values indicate that resizing is not allowed in either direction. These are the lines for the font management. We define a font using the calibrate typeface with the size of 25, 17, 13, and 13. Con is equals to SQLite3.connectData.db. This line connects to a SQLite database named data.db. If the database does not exist, it will be created. Cursor is equals to con cursor open and close parentheses. This line creates a cursor object which is used to execute SQL commands. Cursor.execute. This block creates a table named users if does not already exist. The table has two columns, username and password, both of which are text and cannot be null. Next, we define a function called signup. Username is equals to username entry.get. Password is equals to password entry.get. Just like the passcodes, we accept entry from the user and will put it to the variable username and password. If username is not equal to space and password is not equal to space, this line checks if both the username and password fields are not empty. If either field is empty, it triggers an error message box. Using message box.show error, enter all data. Cursor.execute select username from users where username is equals to question mark username. This line executes a SQL query to check if a user with the provided username already exists in the users table. If cursor.fetch1 is not none, this checks if any result is returned from the query, indicating that the username is already exists. And then it displays a text using message box.show error, username already exists. Else, if the username does not exist, encoded password is equals to password.encode UTF-8, converting the string into bytes, and it will be hash using hash password is equals to bgrep.hashpw. This hashes the encoded password using bgrep with a generated salt. Cursor.execute insert into user's value username hash password. This inserts the new username and hash password into the user's table. Con.commit. This commits the transaction, saving the new user to the database. Message box.show info success account has been created. This displays the message that indicates that the account has been created. We define another login account function, but this is a bit different from the earlier login account. Username is equals to username entry2.get. Password is equals to password entry2.get. This function starts by retrieving the entered username and password from the user interface fields. If username is not equal to space and password is not equal to space, this checks whether both the username and password fields are filled. If either is empty, it shows an error message, error, enter all data. Cursor.execute select password from users where username is equals to question mark username. This function executes a SQL query to fetch the password associated with the entered username from the users table in the database. If result, it checks if any result was returned from the database query. If no result is found, it means that the username does not exist and an error message is shown using message box.show error invalid username. If bcrypt.checkpw password.encode UTF-8 result index 0. If the username exists, the function checks if the entered password matches the stored hash password using bcrypt.checkpw. The password.encode UTF-8 converts the password to bytes as required by bcrypt. If the passwords match, a success message is shown and the current application window is closed using app.destroy to open the main application window. and it displays a message using message box that show error invalid password. Moving on in this login function. This function focuses on customizing the widgets that we needed in the login page. First, if frame1 in globals, frame1.destroy. That means it checks that if frame1 exists, it will call destroy or remove it from the application window. And next, the frame2 is declared as a global variable. Frame2 is equals to custom tikinter ctk frame app bg color is equals to hashtag 87cfeb. fg color is the same with the background color, width 470, height 360. This line is created with specific background, foreground, and dimensions with width and height. Next is login label 2 is equals to custom tikinter ctk label frame2 font is equals to font 1, text is equals to login text color hashtag 000000 bg color 87cfeb. Login label 2 dot place x is equals to 200 and y is equals to 80. We use ctk label to display that the app title is login, and the label's font, text color, and background color are specified. The label is placed at coordinates 200 and 80. We declare them global variables to ensure that there will be no error caused by other functions. Username entry is equals to custom tikinter.ctk entry frame2 the font, text color, fg color, bg color, and border color. We also have border width, placeholder text, and placeholder text color, width, and height. This line is used to customize the username entry box by the specified color, border color, and the width and height. Same goes for the password entry and login button. In this line, we created a login button. It is created with the text login, the button's font, text color, and background color. The command parameter is set to login account, which means this function will be called when the button is clicked. The button is placed at the coordinates 170 and 250. Moving on this part of the code. Frame1 is created as a CTK frame with specific background and foreground colors, width and height, and position at coordinates x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. A sign up label with the text sign up is added to frame1 and position at x is equals to 200, y is equals to 20. Username and password entry are added to frame1 with placeholder text and position at 130, x is equals to 135 and y is equals to 90. The password is x is equals to 135 and y is equals to 160. Sign up button with the text sign up is added to frame1 along with a command to call the sign up function. When the button is clicked, it is positioned on x is equals to 180 and y is equals to 240. We also have here login label with the text already have an account is added to frame1 and positioned at x is equals to 170 and y is equals to 290. And a login button with the text login along with a command to call the login function. It is positioned on x is equals to 170 and y is equals to 320. Up that main loop, open and close parentheses. This starts the main event loop, which listens for events like button clicks and updates the GUI accordingly. And also ensures that the window will stay and also ensures that the window will not be closed.
Here, this works as command prompt. Instead of going into the panel, manually insert the codes via networks. Here you have the equal interfaces, so these are able to generate EMR, which have many data. This or items will be stored in the each variables that command status which is data ID is primary feature which is not evident and then it's shows in the and then function. The next function is fetch. Here we just fetch the data we have in the data lake. Data we have here, and then it presents it into our true just this one. And we connect to the database, and then so to the command prompt we will get all EMR. So just execute this code, and then is equal to fetch call. And if you call this inheritance value, which I just we have the EMR. Then we understand this code code. Let's proceed with this code. Next we have the entry EMR. So we have for everywhere people are doing nine columns which we will have later. Now anyway, this function is when we want to insert data from the input we have to insert in the UID button. So this is the most ideal. This function executes this code as though we use or as if we do if we do it in the line form and manually use the insert into the table that you have EMR, and then the 99 columns, and then you have the placeholders here, all these data, which are the given value, so implemented the value here, manually, and then click and you post, and then you have the delete function. Basically, the delete function or the delete EMR function deletes the data that you have, or this delete the data with the identical ID that is inputted in here in the ID. Thank you, box. Delete from the data you have where specifically the ID. And why the ID? It is because the ID is unchangeable identity because of the primary. As you can see here, ID is not identity. Yeah, the EMR eliminates the data that we have in the database from our root data that is included from the which is changing the one which is here, and the name is basically it works the same as the other functions. We use the cursor that exists here to connect this code, the update EMR article, and then set one confidence set would like to have the root data founded into the database that we have. That's why we have this variable name, gender, ID. ID is not irrelevant. We would not change the ID. ID is not irrelevant. We will add a sentence to change the data to the full address and the data. Then the next equals. Last function that we have here is ID exists. This function works as if the ID exists, this checks if the ID already exists in our database. This is used in multiple instances it will be ready. So this is used in multiple functions in our database, which is the other touch. We don't touch it. So as this is as earlier, we use SQL syntax here, which is count from article EMR, where this specific ID that would be decided for our boxes, and then use only power to contact the table. Let's see what on the table. Okay, let's move on to here first. We start with the table, and then it's usually reduce something like that. Where you are to and now to the table. And then we have images. So do the work. And we don't need that. And we set the app of our most standard. So we new app. We want the constant filter. The title or the name of that item would be named Project Medical System, which will be this part here, the name of our window. And then this the geometry is the dimensions of our window, the width and the height. So the dimensions of our window is the height of 600 feet and width of 230, which is very hard because it is not diagonal. And then the main application is going to use the background because PG is equal to the X code or the front color. And then the last one is this is the ability of our window to be resizable. But as you can see here, this falls from important as you can get some of the generations. Our window is essentially cannot be resized. And then we need four variables here with our functions, which we use in the method. So we have strength, alignment, and it's over. This is using your window model and not very good. Let's move on to this. To the main function of our window. So, as I can see here, define main function. So under this main function, it is the code for our main function or the main window. We start with the activity function. The activity function goes to the the function earlier from our database fetch. Yeah. So this fetch has the data from our database to our view or to our list here. This is the one that allows us to see the data from our database to our image. And then the next function we have clear. Basically the clear function clears out everything that is in the entry boxes. So if we click EMD, it clears out everything that is currently inside there. So inside this one. You can see in the ID only in the ID entry box is the we have to do it here. So we delete everything that we have. Okay, display data function. In the display data function, this displays everything that is in the entry boxes. Everything that is in here into the preview or into this box. And the ID entry is a single one. The ID 2, error 1, and in the index 0, so the ID and so on and so forth. And so can we have the delete function. Because the delete function is the same as here. And as we have the so you can see here if not selected, so if there is no selection just want to choose an selected items. Check the value of selected items to choose an item. There is a selected value entry in our preview. And if the selected item, if there is no selected item, there is not a message box will appear. Error, you choose error, choose location to delete data. So if there is no selected data, message box will appear. However, if there is selected data, we have here the ID is equal to the ID entry again. So, the ID entry box, it will get the data from the ID entry box. For example, we have V1, 2, 3, 4. And then it would search that ID, or it would search our table since ID is ID entry again, so the value from our ID entry box, it would be returned to our database. It will return the value from the ID entry box, and it would be substituted here in our placeholder. So essentially, if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, this would be deleted from EMR where ID is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. If it finds a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the table, it will delete that all the data connected to that entry here to delete all of it. So for example, remember to take note of the specific ID because we, for example, as you can see, here we have 4 zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, only here, only appears as 1, no zeros. So if we delete it, for example, delete it because it is not the same ID that it is in the database. Here, if we have 4 zeros here, it's the same as the ID and delete. Maybe it's deleted. And the update function. I think it would be better if we move on to the insert function first. So we have the insert function here. Here, we start with getting the data from our entry text process. So for example, we have 1, 2, 3. Student. And with the word we have entered data into our entry. So here it says this, for example, this ID entry that this essentially gets the data from the ID from the entry box, and then we have the here. If not ID and name, and take note of the end. ID and name and role and gender and marital status, age, MDAD, and then address to email. So if there is an instance that not all the entry boxes are filled up, it is supposed to present error enter all fields. Let's say ID. It should present an F. So it's correct. And then if the entry that we want to do has the same ID as the same the entry that we already have, so we can go if we do an entry with the same ID that we as the same with the same entry here, it won't add because the ID already exists. If we want to change the data here with the same ID, we are supposed to do the operation for it. If we want to enter a new entry with different data, we are supposed to use a different ID. So if we add the data has been inserted here. This is done because of the else here. So as we have displayed earlier, in our FP database, the insert EMR function, the data from our entry boxes here is returned into the database and then substituted with the placeholders here, and then essentially looks like we have done coding in our command prompt. So it did insert into EMR the data that is retrieved from the entry boxes substituted into this placeholders with the values here. The entry that we have taken from the entry boxes is substituted with this question mark, and then and is placed under this data or columns. So let's move to update function. In the update function, the same as in the function earlier, selected item. It is called again because the selected item here, or the selected item variable here, is not a global variable. It is made under the display function, so it's a local variable. So essentially we need to call it again and again and again in a function of the if we want to use it. Okay, so here, if not selected item, it's the same as earlier. There is no selected items. It's not supposed to be outside. So a free shift. If there is a selected item, our code moves on to the L. So earlier, it takes or it gets data from the entry boxes and then substituted in, or it's returned into the update EMR function that we have in the FP database. Here, just like in the insert function earlier, the data that is taken from the entry boxes in our window or the application substituted into this question mark here. So example, if we have this, we change our name, change our name, this size from the name entry box. We substituted here. For example, if we done it in a command prompt, this would be update EMR set name equal to size for and then where ID, where it is specified where to change the value, because if there is where, everything would be changed and every data in the table will be changed although so this ID is specified. That's why earlier I changed it. Earlier we have 00001, but here it's only just a single one with no zeros. That's why it is very important to take note of everything, because if there is something wrong, you might change data for an entry that is not what you want to change. For example, I have here. For example, I want to change the data in the ID 1, 2, 3, 3, but I did not check or I did not double check. Instead, I click 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I change everything here and then click update station data. So instead of updating the data for 1, 2, 3, 2, I can put the data for 1, 2, 3, 4. You can update it again, but that will be so we have finished all the components eventually these codes here under a function. This goes here or at least this goes here. And what makes or what we see in the window. So start with ID entry label. So in the ID entry label, a label is what we see here. This besides entry box. This white rectangle is entry box and this are the label. So the ID label main add. So it calls on to the global variable that we have here. So it is in the name. So the font one we have here, font 1, this is this font. And then the ID, which we see here, ID. And then the color, the hex code for white, and then the background color that we have in this color. So the ID label is where our label is located in our window. So it's located in the X axis, in the 20, and in the Y axis. It's located in the 30 pixel, and the 30 is the in every labels like this, you need to take note of two things. One is the placement, where you want to put it. We want to put it in your window. The second one is the size of the label that you want. Because sometimes it is not enough just to know where you want to place it. But it is also necessary to take note of the size of the thing that you want to place. For example, if I put this here in the x-axis 20 and in the y-axis 30, the button would surpass the limits or surpass the window. I think it will be. But I just want to say those two things. Take note of the size that you're playing and the place you want to play your life. And then moving on, we have the ID entry. So this is for the entry box. The entry boxes that we have here is where we input data. So same as earlier, text color. In the text color, this is the text. This is the color of the text that spoken here. For this text box, so this is the text color block. And then the border ring or the width of the border. There, if you can see it. And then the width or the size of the entry box. So the size of this entry box is 180. It has a width of 180, and it is placed in the x-axis. In the x-axis in the 100 pixel, and in the y-axis in 20 pixels. Just on the same or around the same level. Next we have the moon label. Just like earlier, the same color or the same text color, same background color, but with a different text this time. Moon and as you can see, I'm sorry, I forgot this part. As you can see here, it is with this method or function, CTK data. This is used for if we want to make a label in our window using the control. So this is for a label, and for entry boxes we use CTK data entry. Sorry. This is for a command. If we want to make a label, we use CTK label. CTK label. This is only for custom to internet. If you want to make entry boxes, we use CTK like that's CTK entry. So this is for every label and every entry box that you have here. Also for buttons, but there is a difference between labels and buttons. Understand this stuff. The one that is different from this is the gender. As you can see in the gender, we don't input or we don't type anything, but instead choose from the choices that we have in this drop down. Or if we want to call it in this code, we use a combo box. Okay, so how did we do this combo box? First, we make options for our combo box. For if you want gender, we have male and female, and then we connect gender var to string box, and then in this combo box, it's essentially the same, but the difference is that it uses here the variable. So the variable is the values we have here or the values that is presented in this drop down or combo box is from the options that we declared earlier, and then the state that we have here, which is read only, so it cannot be typed, just be read. I just read only. And then here we have gender option that's set, so we made male as our what you call that, primary setting. So if we want to change this to female, we change to female. And then just the same as earlier, gender that option, gender underscore option that place is where we want to place the combo box. Okay, so we have the buttons. In the buttons, as I said earlier, it is essentially the same with labels, but we use the CTK button, and then we have here the command. So we input command on what the button should do. Here it has the insert. The insert function, which we have explained earlier. Insert function here. Insert this function. So if we click the add patient add patient data button, it will execute the code under the insert function. And it's the same with every button. So in the clear button, it executes the command clear function, and then update button, it executes the update function. The delete button, the delete function. The new window button is the add medical information button that we have here. This is for, I will explain this to you for our next window. So let's proceed with this first. Let's finish the main window. Okay, so we have the main window. Here we have tree underscore frame. So tree underscore frame is, this variable is for our tree view here, where we select entries, where we see entries. So we use ctk.frame for the tree view, and it has a width of 1000 and a height of 400. And then its placement here. Okay, so we have style declared. We declare the variable style with the value of ttk.style, and its options is mainly for the main app. And then style, we use clamp. There are different styles under a custom ticketer, but what we use here is the clamp style. And then to configure tree heading or the header for our tree. In the back, it has background, font 2, it uses font 2 and foreground. For our tree view, it uses the font Arial 13 with a row height of 30 and the foreground of black and background of white. Okay, so let's move on with the list or in the tree with the tree view itself. Okay. Tree, we declare the function, we declare the variable tree with the value ttk.treeView. This is our tree view, and then it has a column. It has 9 columns: ID, name, gender, marital status, age, date of birth, home address, and email. And then we show the headings, and it has a height of 15. In our column, we have the ID, no gender, marital status, age, DOB. We anchor our columns in the center, and each columns or the data that is inputted in each column is centered. As you can see, every data is centered, and the columns have a width of different widths, but these widths are adjustable. As you can see, you can adjust it. As you can adjust it. If you can see the data from the, if you can see it like that, then you can expand it. Just for example. However, if we use the min width, this would set the width for our columns permanently, so it cannot be expanded or it cannot be adjusted. for later. And then here we have our headings. The headings are what appears in the column itself or in the window itself. This here, it has text names that we have here. So we have ID, employee, gender, status, age, date of birth, home address, and email. These facts are reviewed to the side, to the left side, and fill the y-axis. And we have our scroll bar. This blue line here, it follows the tree frame. And that's for the window. And to tree view. This calls the tree view. If we don't have this, the tree view won't appear. This comment here, I forgot to finish it. Essentially, this is for a button that if you click the Access Medical button, the main window would be closed and only the medical information window would open. I ran into some problems. I am still learning on how to do it properly. Okay, so let's move on to the next window that we have. The medical window. Medical information window. We log in successfully, and then it's access to medical information. Okay, so we have the medical information. As you can see, the medical information window is just the same as the main window, but now with a bit more girth and gloss. Essentially, they're just the same, but in here we take different data. Okay, so let's first start with the medical info database. So it's really just the same as the main database that we have for the main window, but instead we have different variable names and function names. So we have here, instead of EMR, we have med database, the database that we have here, and then a new table which is the med table. Essentially, at first I didn't want to make it like different databases at all. And I wanted to make it like just one database, one table, but with more values here or more columns. But into some problems, and decided just to make a different database for the medical info. So just the same as the main database, we create a table med with the patient ID, date, pending, diagnosis, fetal, and history, allergies. Just the same as earlier, the ID or patient ID this time is still primary can be entered. So as you can see, if you can read this now, if earlier if you saw, so we still have the fetch function, the insert function, delete function, update function, and the ID exists function. So with the fetch function, so just the same as earlier, select the columns or data that we have in the med table from med table, then fetch all. Insert function. The difference that we have from the insert function from the main database is that in the medical information insert function system, it does not require all the data, or it does not require all entry boxes to have input in them. So let's say I have no diagnosis. I have let's say the patient doesn't have a medical history yet. So a new ID since that's what creative concepts are. There is no medical history. As you can see, there is no medical history. Unlike in the main window or in the main database, if there is one entry box that has no data, it would result in an error. That is made possible because with the use of if else statements. So let's start with first insert into it, and then the data from the entry boxes is substituted into these placeholders. Patient ID, it checks the patient ID, and then date of first visit if date of first visit, else none. If date of first visit is the same, or if date of first visit is still the date of first visit wait no I'm sorry. So the date of first visit would be the date of first visit, else, or if there is no date of first visit, if there is no date of first visit, none. And that is the same for every column that we have, or every data that we have in the table. If attending physician, if attending physician, else none. Blood type, if blood type, else none. So even if there is no data inputted, the data that is in the entry box would still be returned or would still be inputted into the column or table. Even if there is nothing here, else none, it would still continue and not result in an error. And then to delete functions, delete from, where the ID that is retrieved from the ID entry box substituted into this question mark, and with this question mark, and then delete from right here, same as earlier. Update function, update med set, then the data from the entry boxes would be substituted into this question mark and executed or committed. I'm sorry for that. And then this checks ID. This the same as earlier. Okay, so we're our med part here. Before going to the main code, earlier I moved past from this function, the new window function. So mainly the new window function is this button. It has a command of medinfo. So the medinfo is the main function for our medical information. So if we click on this new button, it opens or it proceeds into the medinfo function. Here is the medinfo function. So just the same as the main app or the main window, we declare the custom again. I declared this part of the code inside the medical information function because I ran into some problems earlier when I made it into a global function. It does not run. Even ChatGPT cannot explain. And then I copied the font this here, and then essentially really just the same as earlier. We add the tree view function. This add this retrieves the data from the table and then presents it into the tree that we have here. And then the clear function, this clears everything that is in the entry boxes. If we click the new entry or the patient, and then the display data, it retrieves the data from the entry process and then present it. And then the delete function deletes everything that is associated with the ID that is present in the ID entry box here. And then the update function updates the data from the table with the data from the entry boxes. So as you can see, that gets the data from the entry boxes and then returned into the database, substituted into this code, and then executed. Close the connection. Commit, close. ID exists, checks if the ID exists. Insert function. Insert function inserts the data taken from the entry boxes into our tree view. But the difference is that, as you can see, as I said earlier, even if the data is not, even if not all the entry boxes is inputted with data, it would still upload into the database. I made it so because I thought that not everyone has medical history, not everyone knows what allergies they have, not everyone knows what type they have. So for example, if the patient doesn't know his blood type yet, but his data needs to be inserted already, you can just insert the data and then update it later. That's the logic behind, or that's the reason I made it so like that. And then as you can see, I have this print blood type. This is because I ran into some problems right here. The blood type is not presenting into the tree view, so I made it as to debug the problem that I had. Earlier there would be no blood types printed here. You can see print function. This is for debugging. If you want to debug something, you can use print function and debug. I mean, it's a trick that I learned from watching countless YouTube tutorials. Oh my gosh, agents really. And as you can see, it will be just the same as earlier. The CTK label for the label for patient, visit, attending physician, diagnosis, replacement. And then our buttons, we add clear button, update button, delete, the list box. So we have the list box right here. In the main window, this is named as the tree frame. But in the medical information, I give the list box just to make a difference, and I don't mistake the two. The difference is that it uses MedInfo instead of main app, which is the MedInfo that is declared here. Here, MedInfo, and then so yeah, let's talk about what's happening. Okay, so let's read it. As you can see, this the same as earlier. We use the clam theme, then the date, then the background, the font, very different font this time. And then with different columns. We have the patient ID, date of first visit, then the institution, blood type, diagnosis, medical history, and allergies. And still, the data inserted is in the center with different width, with WIDTH. And then the tree is packed to the left and CO to the data as well. And with scroll bar again. And then sorry for that. And then we have the close new window function. The close new window function is for the close button that we have in the close we have here. As you can see, this close window. So if we click this close window, as you can see, it's a button, and the command is close window. And under close window function, we have medinfo that is just destroy. So this closes the medinfo window, and then we're brought back into the main window. That's the use for the close window. Or for example, you're finished with updating this, and then you want to update other patients medical information. Close, go back, close, go back, close. And that's for our main window. And I admit that we could have done more for this app, especially with connecting the medical information window to the data with the data from the main window into the medical information window. That is because, for example, if you want to update the ID 1234, or if you want to put medical information with the ID 1234, you would need to retype it all over again. You need to. I'm sorry for that. So, as I said, you will need to retype everything again. It would be better if it would be better if we could have just made or used one database for this application. And the second is that if you have seen in the login window earlier, there are supposed to be images in there, but in our code it results in a conflict. The images that we have doesn't load, so we abandoned the idea, or we scrapped the idea for now. But definitely we would find a way to present those images later. This code is for the login window, which would be, or which is discussed by Raster, my partner, for this application or project. We made this project and that's it for our project. This project is very taxing. As you can see, the lines of code already reached 575 or 575. It's a very long code and we did many debugging for this. As you can see, we reached this project 6A, and before moving from test project 1A, we move to test project 1B, test project 1C, and then test project 2. And that's it. Thank you for listening.